So I'm going to make a short presentation here, and a topic will be presented, and hopefully I'll be able to generate enough interest that will encourage people to respond, maybe in the comments. Um, this also can be viewed as an experiment to see how we can present information in more creative ways. Um, Let me stop the videos
So
here.
why should this be
What do you
an
think your
expensive
core
drug?
competence is?
Our it's culture.
I say
That's an issue I've been having with
It's not the technology. I think technology is a tool. The core
with
competence
more.
of our companies, we have 20,000. We grow from 18 people to now
Let me
20,000
see.
young people.
Let me stop.
And
Okay. Look at this. If I put my camera on a Moab surface and I press Alt and oh, it's working now. But before it would just jump at random places. But anyway, it seems to be working now. Okay. So I wanted to talk about two entrepreneurs, and I'm interested in entrepreneurship and how entrepreneurs think, what motivates them, and the two persons I've chosen today is Martin Shkreli and Jack Ma. And these two persons have very different views when it comes to running their businesses. Okay, so Martin Shkreli has a different set of priorities, which we will see, and Ma has another set of his own priorities. Okay, and so they'll be talking about shareholders, customers, and their workers, and the relative importance that they give to these three stakeholders. So let's hear them. I mean, for those who don't know, um, Martin Shkreli was recently in the news. Well, not so recently because he's one of the pharma. Um, well, they call him the pharma bad boy for some reason. He's supposed to have increased. Well, he has increased the price of a drug by thousands of percent, and he's got his own reasons why he did this. But I won't, comment on whether I agree or not. I'll let you listen to him, and then we'll listen to Jack Ma and see how he actually, he's thinking about businesses and what's important to him. Okay, so let's just have a listen. Okay. All right. So we listen to Martin first.
So there's a number of reasons, but probably the first reason I'd go through is the one I walked through earlier that we don't talk about a lot, which is our shareholders expect me to make as much money as possible for them, and that's the ugly, dirty truth. And I raised $100 million in our Series A, which is the fourth largest Series A ever for drugs. In 2 weeks, without a roadshow, I picked up the phone, made a few phone calls, I got $100 million in the bank. And my investors know what I do with that money. I multiply for them. That's my job. And I do it really well, and I'm going to keep doing it. And that's part of what capitalist America is all about. And as long as patients don't suffer, which we bend over backwards to make sure they don't, and we're responsible with the profits. We're not taking those profits and endowing a library in my name or something. We're taking the profits and doing research with those
But drug prices are supposed to be, it's supposed to be an incentive system.
I don't know what it's supposed to be. It's a business. We're supposed to make as much money as possible, Matt. I mean, at the end of the day, I just explained that there is a fiduciary duty to shareholders. And I cannot break that duty because you tell me to, or because some magazine is going to say, what a bad guy. It doesn't work that way.
And is there a duty to society? Is there a duty to patients?
I know that society can't put you in jail for violating fiduciary duty, but the federal government can. So I think that, I take the law very seriously. Delaware law is explicit. You must maximize shareholder opportunities. And by the way, if I wasn't known to do that, I'd have a lot harder time raising money. I mean, I'm shortly going to announce a deal where I'm buying a company that is out of money.
You're announcing that you're going to announce a deal?
Yes. That is what I'm doing. And
Well, let's stop the clip here. So when he's describing, his approach, and it's interesting to see that he strongly believes that he did say at some point, this is what capitalism is all about. It's maximizing money for shareholders. So he actually he's got his primary interest is to make his shareholders happy. Okay, and he tries to argue that even when the price of drugs are increased by thousands of times, all the money that's raised actually goes into research. So those are fair statements to make, and especially in the pharma industry. Um, that's a common story. Whenever something is priced at a very high point, you can always make the case that the profits will be used to to fund for research, or to fund for the past 500 times you failed to make the product work. So there are many different ways that you can use to explain why you can have a very high price point. So once that argument is made, of course you can spend some time investigating whether really what percentage of profits raised are actually going into research, and try to see whether really new drugs are coming out. So yeah, he's got a rationale for what he does, and as listeners, I think it's our job to go and try to find the data and see whether the rationale is an explanatory story that is a mere justification, or an explanatory story that actually points to fundamental principles and facts that drives the business. So now let's listen to Jack Ma. Jack Ma is a Chinese entrepreneur. He's the chairman of the Alibaba group of companies, and he's 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 been fairly unknown, in the mid 90s. That's when he was starting, and after a lot of trial and error and failures that he's very fond of talking about, um, he he became really very successful. And let's listen to him and see actually what is his what actually drives him as an entrepreneur.
It's culture. It's not the technology. I think technology is a tool. The core components of our companies, we have 20,000. We grow from 18 people to now 20,000 young people. And we focus a lot on the value and the mission, and making sure the culture, everybody work for helping others instead of just making money. And we believe the co-company different from the Wall Street. We believe customer number one, employee number two, shareholder number three.
Customer one, employee two, shareholder
number
three.
three. Yeah, this is my religion. It's the customer that pay us the money. It's the employees that drive the innovation. It's the shareholder, and the shareholder always say, I don't remember the day before we IPO, and a lot of people say, Jack, can I give us the shares? We were long-term shareholders. But when the crisis came, these guys run as soon as
They ran away.
They ran away. My people stayed, customers stayed.
Okay, so basically what he's saying is that, well, if you note right in the beginning of the clip, he mentioned the word culture. So there's a Chinese culture, culturally, I think it's more about communities. They're community focused, and of course, um, I don't think that they follow a system of capitalism, that we know of, or that we have come to understand, um, what it is in the United States, and it seems that he did say that he's got different, he actually prioritizes differently. The customers are not number one, and the last people are the shareholders, and that's totally opposite to what Martin Shkreli was talking about. And I think that if you look at the history of Alibaba, it started with zero funding. Okay, there were 18 people. They started in an apartment in China. Okay, um, and they had zero funding and built the business, and the business generated money. And it's only after becoming big enough that they started uh, to well, even at some point they ended up having to confront eBay. That I think at some point eBay wanted to enter the Chinese market, and there was this big battle between eBay and Alibaba for the Chinese market. And I don't know if people remember, um, but Alibaba actually won that that battle, and eBay had to get out of the US. And and then, of course, Alibaba had had an IPO in the US, and they raised a lot of money. So you can see where Jack Ma is coming from. He actually started with zero. He didn't start with venture capital money. He did come to the United States in the beginning, and met people in Silicon Valley to try to raise funding, and he got rejections after rejections, and it's not one time, it's a lot number of times, and it's many times. That's the story of his life. I mean, he likes to say how many times he applied for jobs and never got, a job, or he tried to get into Harvard, then he couldn't get in. He was just persistent every time, and he failed, unfortunately. But okay, so he's got a different story, a different worldview, and his customers are number one, and the last people are shareholders. So I just wanted to illustrate those two individuals and their different perspectives. I mean, I'm sure that you might find a different number of perspectives, as many as different perspectives as they are entrepreneurs. And it's just interesting to see how these individuals think. I mean, I think um, it certainly broadens our worldview. Yeah, so as I said, my intention in the beginning was to try to find you know a better way to make presentations in a virtual environment. I'm just experimenting, and we make use of what we call 3D bookmarks, etc. So for example, here, if we want to let us say there were people sitting around me during this presentation, and I wanted to bring up more information about Martin Shkreli. I would just click on this bookmark that I had created before, and that would bring up the Wikipedia page here, and you can actually see and get some information about the guy. Okay. He actually uses social media a lot, and if you are so interested, you can actually, follow his Periscope feeds, and he's on Discord and Twitter, YouTube. Well, at this time, as I said, I don't want to comment on individuals on the actual philosophies, but I'm just presenting it here so that as examples. And there is a clip where I show how those bookmarks are created. Let me see. I can just demonstrate it. Let me find an interesting link, hopefully, that I can bring up. Let me go down here. Okay, let's see. Let's look at this. Jack Ma Foundation. So let me just create a bookmark, and you can see in this recording how a bookmark is created. So you have two buttons here in this web browser that's in World, and you have a little dialog box. You get to pick the color for the title. I'm going to have it, let's say green, and the color of the bookmark, which looks like a book over there. I'm going to color this to pick, like, if it's green, let's make it black, just for higher contrast. And I have to write the description. Let's create that object, so it's going to appear here. I'm going to place it somewhere here. Okay, so as you can see, you have this object that's placed on the rack, and I'm clicking on the Wikipedia link right now, and that's going to bring it up. And if I want to go to the foundation site again, I just have to click on this object, and it's going to load the website in question. Okay, so now you know how the bookmarks work, and you have an idea. Okay, so let's clear this. Let me just stand up, clear this, and maybe load another one so that you get to see another example. Those projectors, by the way, are not included in the object library. I'll do that later on. So currently we are working on another way for creating those 3D bookmarks. We are working on extensions that we can use in an external web browser that will actually create those bookmarks inside the virtual world. So if you're browsing, if you're using your web browser on your desktop and you're finding something interesting, you can just click on an extension, and that would create those bookmarks, and then you can use them. Okay, so I'll stop it here, and hope to have something interesting to share next time. And if you want me to do more talks about other topics using a similar kind of presentation, just let me know. I'll be happy to do them. Okay, take care, bye.